exploring unknown tech, decoding future unicorns. Welcome to Product X, using the sharp intuition of capital and the hardcore logic of an architect to help you catch the next big event in the global tech sphere. Hello everyone, I'm Rena. Today, Silicon Valley's headlines have been hijacked by a familiar name, Chamath. This former early Facebook executive and venture capital titan just announced he will abandon his traditional capital allocation work to personally step in as the CEO of the AI coding startup 8090 Labs. Accompanying his comeback is a massive $135 million Series A financing round, led by software giant Salesforce Ventures, with top-tier investors like Nikesh Arora and Adam D'Angelo also jumping in. Vivian, want to kick us off?
Hey Rena, thanks for having me. Yeah. So, I'm a senior angel investor at PreAngel Fund, and honestly, when I saw Chamath actually take the CEO seat, instead of just writing a check, I knew this wasn't a hobby project. This is a full-blown bet on enterprise AI refactoring. Nolan, your turn.
Hey everyone, I'm Nolan, previously a top architect at a couple of big Silicon Valley tech companies. And yeah, I couldn't agree more with Vivian. When someone like Chamath walks away from the podcast circuit to run a company, you pay attention. This isn't about writing better code, it's about rewriting the entire enterprise software game.
All right, let's get into it. First question, Vivian. Chamath is a super billionaire who could literally do anything. Why would he personally step onto the field as CEO? And what is the capital market reading into this all-in signal?
Honestly, it sends a violent signal to Wall Street. When a guy who made his name allocating capital across startups suddenly grabs the wheel himself, it means he sees something that can't be ignored. AI refactoring enterprise software is the biggest wealth transfer opportunity of our generation. That's the headline. But the subtext is even more interesting.
Let me jump in here. From the technical side, what Chamath is betting on isn't incremental improvement. It's a complete overhaul of how enterprises handle their code bases. We're talking about systems that haven't been touched in decades, written in COBOL and old Java, and nobody dares to touch them because the moment you do, everything crashes. 8090 is promising to fix that. That's the hook.
Okay, now let's talk about the lead investor, Salesforce. Why would Salesforce drop heavy money to lead a Series A for a company that's potentially disruptive to their own business model?
Here's the thing, Salesforce invented the per-seat SaaS model, right? They made billions selling licenses by the seat. But AI coding agents? They're quietly dismantling that model. If AI can help enterprises automatically build their own custom CRM or workflow systems, do they still need to buy thousands of SaaS accounts? Salesforce leading this round is basically hedging their own future. They'd rather own a piece of the disruptor than get disrupted.
Yeah, and the engineering reality matches the financial strategy. 8090 isn't building a better IDE plugin like Copilot. They're building a full software factory. The input is a natural language requirement document, not a line of code. The output is an entire refactored system. That's a completely different technological dimension. And Salesforce knows their enterprise customers are screaming for exactly this.
That transitions perfectly to my next question. Nolan, you just mentioned the technical difference. Can you break down for us what makes 8090's architecture fundamentally different from what developers are using today?
Sure. Think about Copilot or Cursor, they're completion tools. They make you type faster. The human is still in the loop for every single line. But 8090's software factory? It's an end-to-end AI native platform. You feed it a system requirement document, and it spits out an entire refactored architecture. The real pain point in enterprises isn't writing new code, it's dealing with legacy code bases that are 20, 30 years old, where the original authors are long gone, and nobody understands the spaghetti logic anymore. 8090 uses multi-agent networks to digest, reverse engineer, and modernize those tangled messes into cloud-native architectures.
Right. And that matters commercially. Once you can actually refactor legacy systems reliably, you unlock healthcare, aerospace, defense industries with enormous ACVs and zero fault tolerance. The client stickiness is basically lifelong once you're in. That's why EY and Adapt Health became early clients. We're talking about contracts worth millions annually, and the switching cost is essentially infinite.
So both of you are pointing to enterprise-grade trust and compliance as a major moat. Vivian, you mentioned the investor lineup includes people like Nikesh Arora and Adam D'Angelo. How does that factor into the commercial strategy?
Oh, that's a deliberate signal. Nikesh runs Palo Alto Networks, one of the biggest security firms on the planet. Adam D'Angelo sits on OpenAI's board. Bringing those names in as angel investors isn't about money. It's about credibility for military and financial clients who are extreme neat freaks about security. It's essentially saying, look, if these guys trust our infrastructure, you can trust it too.
Exactly. And from the engineering side, if you want to survive in healthcare or defense, you can't just generate code and hope for the best. You need full audit trails. Every single decision needs to be traceable. If the system crashes, someone has to take the blame. How was this line of code generated? What tests passed? What compliance checkpoints were met? That's the real technical moat, generating entire pipelines with test cases, rollback mechanisms, and full provenance verification, not just snippety code.
All right, last question in our round table before we wrap. Looking at the $135 million burn rate, where do you see this money going? And what are the biggest technical and commercial risks ahead?
A massive portion will go straight to high-performance compute. We're talking about enterprise-grade, customized, large model services at scale. The risk? Building trust with hyper-regulated clients takes time, and the sales cycles are brutal. But the payoff, if you nail it, is a defensible, lifelong customer relationship.
The engineering risk is hallucinations. How do you strictly limit AI from making stuff up while still letting it be creative enough to design modern system architectures? That's the greatest trial Chamath's technical team faces. They need to burn through this $135 million solving that exact problem.
Love the tension there. Okay, let's switch gears lightning round. Quick fire questions, quick answers. First one, what's the most surprising thing about this deal?
Chamath actually taking the CEO seat. That was unexpected.
I'll go with the investor lineup: Salesforce, Nikesh Arora, Adam D'Angelo, all in one round. That's a power group.
Second, what's the biggest overhyped thing people are saying about 8090?
That it's just another coding tool. It's not. It's a software factory.
Yeah, I'd say the idea that it's comparable to Copilot. Totally different ballgame.
Third, if 8090 fails, what's the most likely reason?
They can't solve the hallucination problem for regulated industries. Trust is everything.
Or they burn through the cash before landing enough enterprise deals. The compute costs will be brutal.
Fourth hot take, who benefits most from this deal if it works?
Enterprise customers with legacy systems. Finally, someone is tackling their nightmare.
Honestly, Salesforce, they get a hedge against their own model disruption.
And finally, what's one thing about 8090 that nobody is talking about but should?
The multi-agent architecture for reverse engineering decades-old code. That's the real technical breakthrough.
The lifelong client stickiness once you're in. Once a hospital or bank system is refactored by 8090, they're never going back.
Perfect. Now, let's close. Vivian, give us a one-sentence summary of today's topic.
8090 Labs represents a massive bet that AI can do what no one has been able to do safely. Refactor trillion-dollar enterprise legacy systems at scale. And, in the process, reshape the entire SaaS business model.
Nolan?
It's not about writing code faster. It's about rewriting the rules of enterprise software delivery, one legacy system at a time.
Thanks to both of you. Through Vivian's financial analysis of Salesforce's defensive investment and Nolan's hardcore breakdown of the enterprise software factory architecture, we can see that 8090 is attempting to transform code from an artisanal craft into a precise, controllable, automated industrial pipeline. When AI takes over underlying code generation, human value shifts to architectural design and business logic. Thank you for tuning in to Product X. If you want to see through the world's most cutting-edge tech and capital trends with us, please like and subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow.